Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host here, Eric Rodriguez, with all your cool wrestling factoids, all the potential storylines, all this, all the action inside and outside of the ring. Try to focus on backstage as well as you do in terms of contract negotiations, et cetera, pay-per-views. I'm your wrestling man, 110%. So, go ahead and stick with me. Hope you guys had an amazing week. Hope you had an amazing Monday. It was the weekend, Eric, already. But, hey, some people might have, maybe somebody had a 3-day weekend. It would have been nice with the whole Father's Day thing. It would have been sick. So, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today lined up. We have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We have our WWE NXT preview. A lot of big things happening. It's on right now. I can't wait to watch it. Well, who's going to win the 25-man Battle Royal to fight Trick Williams? Like I said, I have not checked a single shred of TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all the, the social media platforms all these young kids around nowadays. But and then our third segment, we're going to jump right on into our TNA Against All Odds results. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Segment 4, we're going to talk about, we're going to have a meet and greet with Uncle Howdy and, his stablemates. We're going to jump right on into some potential storylines and, kind of what it means for the group to kind of be surfaced on WWE Monday Night Raw. Obviously, they made their debut last night. We'll get into that momentarily. And our fifth and final segment, we're going to end it all with a nice little Tuesdays Today in Wrestling History. Today is June 18th. We had a couple of big things that happened in the past, so we're going to touch on that in terms of this show. But before I move on, before I get any closer, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. It really does help the show, guys. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. Just put your question, go ahead and ask the question. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Give me your potential storylines, give me your potential wrestling spoofs you want to talk about, your opinions about wrestlers, your opinions about, some sort of storylines. Maybe you feel like they debuted Uncle Howdy a little too close for comfort. I want to know all that. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Hopefully, maybe you can change my perspective in a lot of things. I'm very open-minded and, I take criticism very well. Can't wait to hear, obviously wrestling is, it's different from any other sport out there. We accept multiple perspectives. I'm not saying other sports don't, but I don't know. Usually wrestling fans of the sports entertainment industry, it's kind of, it's more accustomed, I guess you can say. So once again, the link is at the GSMC podcast.net. Ask me anything about wrestling. Tell me where you're from. Just anything. Make yourself a part of the show. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be really neat. So we're going to jump right on into our segment 1. We have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. So let's jump right on into it. First and foremost, you saw Monday Night Raw start off with Uncle Howdy. The moment it started, it was like, taking over your screen. It was absolutely insane. And, it's kind of crazy how they waited to the very end. Obviously I kind of knew that was going to happen. But, right from the get-go, you had, Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six taking over Monday Night Raw tonight. So then, of course, we got another surprise. We got Seth Rollins make an appearance. He returned to Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Rollins. I thought that was pretty cool. He, once again, he was kind of hinting at winning at Money in the Bank. I wouldn't be, against him winning Money in the Bank because I feel like, especially people on the Monday Night Raw roster, I feel like he's definitely one of them that, kind of intrigues interest if he would have the briefcase. But of course, he would be a 2-time Money in the Bank winner. I don't think we've ever had that in wrestling history, in WWE history so far. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if they have a back-to-back winner. But he doesn't need to win the Money in the Bank because as soon as he came out, you had Damien Priest come out. Damien Priest said, sincerely, it's good to have you back, man. Glad you're not injured. Glad you came back. Glad, he has, more competition, although he did win at Clash of the Castle with with a little help from CM Punk. But I kind of like the sincerity of of Damien Priest, excuse me. And, obviously he wanted to cash in on Seth and everybody kind of knew it. Obviously they were hinting at Drew McIntyre and Damien Priest kind of feuding. That's the reason why I feel like he cashed in successfully because but then CM Punk, then the CM Punk thing happened and you didn't really get to see that rivalry kind of surface until like a couple weeks later, like or maybe like even months later. But overall, I feel like it's kind of heading toward the right direction. I like how Damien Priest was able to challenge Seth Rollins. Once again, I feel like although it is going to be at Money in the Bank, I feel like Damien Priest is still going to retain. And I know a lot of you guys say, oh, like, what are you talking about? It's Seth freaking Rollins. I feel like he's still kind of rehabbing his injury. I feel like this, for him to, challenge Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank was just kind of like a way to kind of give Seth a little more time on the back burner, just kind of rehab his injury a little bit. So, and then when he loses, I feel like it kind of gives him like an out, like, be like, oh, Seth's not worse than Damian Priest. It's just the fact that, maybe he's not 110% yet. So you kind of have that in your back pocket as a WWE creative executive. And I don't know, I just feel like right now Damian Priest, he's still fighting to be like a credible, like kind of champion. I know, the word transitional champion has been thrown out a lot, especially during the Damian Priest reign. And to all fairness, honestly, I kind of think that way too. Mostly because he can't win a match cleanly, and that kind of bothers me. I feel like in WWE and wrestling, if somebody keeps winning matches kind of botched or keeps winning matches that are kind of have interference and stuff like that, disqualifications, countouts, etc., it doesn't really mean you're the guy. And like I know that kind of obviously there's some sort of there's always an exceptional rule, obviously Roman Reigns with the bloodline and stuff like that, but we got to move on. Yeah, so we have a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match at Money in the Bank with Seth freaking Rollins taking on Damian Priest. Chad Gable, he said, he had a nice little promo. He did hit a nice little promo. He wanted to, he was talking to Adam Pearce about, moving his way back up to the Intercontinental Championship, #1 contendership. And Adam Pearce told him straight, he's like, hey, man, you got to win your way back from the line, bro. And then Chad Gable was like, yeah, all right, fine. That's cool. Find me someone. That somebody ended up being the monster among men, Braun Strowman. Obviously, Chad Gable was not happy. Strowman obviously picked up the victory. In the back, you saw the Alpha Academy, having a meeting after what Chad Gable pulled. He took the crutch away from Maxine Dupree, which wasn't cool at all. And then you also saw Otis finally put hands. Excuse me, sorry. It's kind of hot. It's fucking in my eye. Obviously Maxine Dupree has nothing to do with it. Akira Tozawa was once again targeted, and Otis going to take it. He shoved him in the back. He basically said, look, Chad, we're out of the Alpha Academy. We're no more. And then Chad, of course, he said, he kind of said something that was, I feel like it was kind of cool. It was very cool. Will there be a new leader of the Alpha Academy? Maybe Otis kind of fills that role, and maybe Chad Gable, loses it altogether, or maybe Chad Gable starts his own version of his Alpha Academy. Obviously, recruits the Creed brothers and maybe a couple of others, a couple other winners or whatever. And then he said under his breath, he was like, I'm going to do something that stupid Otis, couldn't do, is win the, cash in on the Money in the Bank and, yada, yada, yada. And it was, a nice little foreshadow. Obviously, he has a match next week. I feel, man, who's he going to face? Who's he going to face? I think it was Braun Strowman. No, I think it might be Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. It's going to be a tall order, but if anybody can do it, I think Chad. Excuse me. I think Chad could sneak away with the win there. Next, we saw also another promo with the Judgment Day. Damien Priest confronts Finn Balor, and he's like, "Hey, man, honestly, what are you gonna do if you win that Money in the Bank?" Like, he's a little concerned, and then Finn Balor's like, "I'm gonna cash it in and become champion against Cody." Like, I thought that was kind of funny how Finn Balor was able to kind of against Cody. Like, obviously I feel like that's kind of a lie. Obviously, I feel like with the implementation of the Wyatt Six newly on Monday Night Raw, and with Monday Night Raw being exclusively to the Judgment Day, I feel like it's just another matter of moments before they have this full, Judgment Day just fall apart. I thought maybe it was going to happen when Rhea Ripley kind of returned. But I don't know. It's gonna be it's gonna be kind of crazy. It's gonna be kind of interesting to see what WWE does in terms of that. Next, we see a women's Money in the Bank qualifying match. You saw Io Sky, Zelina Vega against Kiana James. Liv Morgan comes out, distracts the rolling, ready to win the match. Zelina Vega, Io Sky, takes she takes opportunity to the finest. She rolls up, gets the win. Absolutely impressive. Next, we see Sami Zayn come out. Sami Zayn looking for a challenger for his WWE Intercontinental Championship. You saw Braun Breaker come out, and then you saw Sheamus come out. So then these two guys, you know, um, once again, Sami Zayn was kind of feeling with what the academy, with the Alpha Academy, was kind of dealing with. He was like, I'm moving forward from Chad Gable. It's hard to lead the Alpha Academy one, but when they already like when I left the Bloodline, they will leave. And then Braun Breaker, he said he's taking that Intercontinental Championship. And then Sheamus came out, which I kind of loved. I love Sheamus I love Sheamus as a babyface. I feel like he does really really well as a babyface. And I love that he came out and kind of broke that, that solder that okay, maybe Braun Breaker might, be the next person to fight Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Honestly, I don't think he's ready. I would not want to see Braun Breaker fight against Sami Zayn. But that, obviously that's just me. Next we saw Carlito against Dragon Lee. I was wrong. This match was not a qualifier for the Money in the Bank. Thank God. The LWO, I feel like the LWO, they really honestly have to stop losing by distractions. Carlita was able to get the victory because of the Judgment Day. And I don't know, I kind of feel where Ray's coming from. I know it's been kind of rumored that, Rey Mysterio was thinking about going heel because he always gets taken advantage of. They always lose. Ever since he turned into a good guy, he has nothing but bad things, on his plate, kind of, so to speak. But, moving forward, so then we saw the Alpha Academy leave Chad, like I told you guys before. Then you see Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre came out. He addressed the WWE Universe. He said, "Screw this company. I quit." And then you saw Adam Pearce come out, and then you saw Triple H, Paul Levesque come out, and they don't want. He even faced Paul Levesque, and he quit like straight to his face. So I don't obviously this is a huge storyline. This is a huge kind of ploy kind of thing. I don't really think Drew McIntyre is going to go anywhere. I believe he signed a contract with WWE. He recently renewed his contract. But I don't know, I just thought it was very interesting. Damage Control, they fought against Katana Carter and Kaden Chance. They were able to win because obviously, you saw Lyra Valkyria, kind of get in the way of there. And then at the end of the match, you saw, what's her name? Dakota Kai. She was like, "Why is Lyra Valkyria getting in our business?" And I was like, "Dude, like, what are you talking about? You guys were attacking her way before when?" And then we saw Sheamus and Braun Breaker have a match. Ultimately, you saw Braun Breaker about to win. Luckily, that did not happen. You saw, Ludwig Kaiser come out. The former, well, not former. I think he's still the main, the main spokesman of the former, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion Gunther. Um, he came out and he proved dividends. He was able to kind of screw them over in the match. He got Braun Breaker disqualified by attacking Sheamus. And then, man, once when he saw Braun Breaker being brought out, and then Kaiser was getting ready for the attack, and then you saw him cover all that ground. You saw him going with full head of steam. The Steiner brothers, would be proud. Rick, Scott Steiner, they'd be proud of his little, obviously Rick is his dad, and Scott would be his nephew. And then you saw Karrion Kross challenge the New Day. Once again, you saw Xavier Woods being cut off by Kofi Kingston. You saw that glare. Something could be in the mist there. I don't want to believe it, and I don't know what WWE would be thinking of breaking them up. But, it's in the tag team division. The New Day really hasn't really been relevant ever since Big E kind of got injured. So maybe they might be kind of like, kind of looking for a storyline to kind of keep that afloat, until they, kind of jump toward a tag team championship, once again. And then we saw the triple threat match for the men's Money in the Bank. You saw Jey Uso defeat Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio. And lastly, we saw Uncle Howdy make his much anticipated debut to WWE. It was pretty great. It was we'll get into it a little more later in my fourth segment, but it was something out of a horror movie. It was absolutely pretty crazy. Then I got a chat from my man right here, Little Fettuccine 68. What's with the whole Drew McIntyre and Something feud. I can't fully read that. That's kind of strange. Honestly, I feel like Drew McIntyre, I don't think he's really going to go anywhere. I feel like this was like his way of kind of taking a break, kind of, he's on the back runner for WWE. To be lunged in any really storyline, which honestly I feel like Drew McIntyre would fit in anywhere he goes. So, we haven't seen the last of him. I feel like once again he will hold the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But once again, that's just me. If you disagree with me or if you agree, hit it up in the chat. Always 110% all the time. Now we're going to move on into our WWE NXT preview. We have our 25-man Battle Royal, which is happening right now. I can't wait to watch it. So, hey, stay tuned.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, and we're back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We recently touched on our WWE Monday Night Raw review, and now we're going to jump right on into our WWE NXT preview. So let's go ahead and get started with that. But before we move on any further, I want to remind you guys that to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your question. Just put your questions up on top so you can tell me how you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like about this podcast. Tell me what you like in the terms of wrestling. Tell me potential storylines that you would like to see, kind of moving forward. Just put your questions up on top so we can talk about it in front of, all that are viewing. It's actually pretty exciting. And it really does help the show, guys, here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. Again, the link is at the GSMC podcast.net. So let's go ahead and jump right on into our WWE NXT preview. So we're going to start, we're continuing, we're building toward the NXT Heatwave. There's still a lot of matches that kind of still need to kind of be dealt with. You need a match with Oba Femi. You need Roxanne Perez to fight. You also, honestly, with Dawn and Fire, like recently winning the WWE Women's World Tag Team titles, I would like to see them fight at WWE NXT, but obviously, honestly, that's just my opinion. And then, of course, you have Kelani Jordan defending her newly, acquired and the inaugural WWE Women's North American NXT Championship. So she's defending that tonight. Should be interesting to kind of jump around on into it. But let's baby steps. So, women's triple threat tag team match. You see Roxanne Perez teaming up with Lola Vice against Miss Jackson, Last Legend against JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. This match is going to be pretty crazy because I feel like any one of these 5 superstars besides Roxanne Perez have a chance to kind of fight her for the championship, the NXT World Women's Championship at Heatwave. So there's definitely going to be a little disgruntled. I would like to see maybe Lola Vice kind of finding a way to screw over her own team, which would kind of be a little nonsense because, a win is a win. A win builds up momentum. On the other hand, you could have them winning and you'd be like, look, we won. You kind of owe me a championship title match. You know what I mean? Lola Vice, obviously, she was very successful on NXT Battleground. She beat out Shayna Baszler, which impressed the crap out of me, to be honest. So, definitely think her next opponent is kind of heading toward Lola Vice. Obviously, you kind of seen JC Jane last week on WWE NXT get the match from, the dashing Cody Rhodes, and I don't know if that's just going to give her like you know powers, and I don't know if she's going to put it on, and people are going to be like, oh, so if I cheer for the mask, it's like I'm cheering for Cody Rhodes, and then JC James is going to soak that all up. I don't know what they're kind of heading for, heading towards with her, getting that mask, but obviously it's sports entertainment, so there's, I feel like it's going to kind of prove dividends somehow, some way. But honestly, out of this match, I see Roxanne Perez and Will Levice becoming the victors. And we're going to determine who's Roxanne Perez's new opponent heading toward NXT Heatwave. All right, next we have Kelani Jordan against Michin for the NXT North American Championship. For me, I feel like there's no reason for Kelani Jordan to drop the title so soon, especially with Michin. Not that I'm hating on Michin, it's just that she's kind of like that. You kind of saw her in the ladder match. She was she's like a veteran. She's a highly trusted veteran to kind of help dictate a match. She's going to put Kelani over so much in this match, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it. Obviously, it's happening right now. I keep telling you guys this, but moving on. We're running out of time. But Michin's good. She's good. She's always been good. All these amazing wrestlers, all these women's wrestlers are absolutely phenomenal. But Kelani Jordan, like she said on NXT last week, that this title, for it to be prestigious, you can't have the first person who wins it lose. You can't. You absolutely can't. I would say, like I was kind of hinting at last podcast, uh, stand and deliver. That's like a good 9 to 10 months. I feel like by then it should be very prestigious. Obviously, Kelani Jordan's a winner. She's a very accomplished gymnast. She's done it all. She's won gold medals and stuff like that. And ever since coming to the WWE NXT, she's been more than impressive. And what she's kind of doing right now with this title, the way she's being a fighting champion, 2 weeks after winning the match, she's right off the get-go fighting Michin. Michin, like I said, she's no walk in the park. But then again, I'm like, she's kind of like that mid-carder, stuff like that. She's kind of like that veteran, kind of like an Natalia. Kind of put her in Natalia, kind of like in the same boat. Putting over young talent, but then sometimes if you have to teach a young person a lesson, kind of, slap the crap out of them a couple times. So, I see Michin losing this match. I wouldn't see why you would, have Kelani Jordan, win the WWE Women's North American Championship right off the bat and just lose it. Just doesn't make any sense. So, something that we've been waiting for, all week. I know I have. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see what goes on. And I'll remind you guys to use the GSMCpodcast.net link to shoot your questions on over by. But honestly, I can't wait to find out who's going to win this Battle Royal. We got a 25-man Battle Royal for WWE NXT. And I feel like it's going to be great. Cody Rhodes last week, he teased non-WWE stars making appearances. He said, sometimes, you're going to recognize some of these guys. Some of them you're not. They're going to be coming from different locker rooms. I mean, that just teases appearances by, could be TNA. I know recently WWE has kind of been in talks with kind of establishing like a South American, doing like a more of a, some wrestling promotions in Puerto Rico. There's a National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA. They have territories also in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. So it wouldn't make, I feel like the door's swinging wide open. Ever since Paul Levesque kind of took over, he kind of sees things from more of a wrestling fan's perspective in terms of like, in terms of like being an executive and be like, I'm going to tell the people what they want. I'm not going to let people from TNA and NWA. I'm not going to, I don't know if they're willing to go this close, but AEW into this, promotion, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like the way they're kind of doing it is really good. I feel like Paul Levesque is absolutely 110% doing a great job, especially in terms of TNA. I feel like TNA wrestlers coming to the WWE is amazing. It's the best. There's a lot of guys on the TNA roster that could very much make their way to the WWE NXT roster. I'm not going to necessarily, I doubt they're going to, because I know WWE has kind of been flirting with the idea of having WWE NXT kind of be its own entity to kind of stand on its own, and nothing makes more sense than this to kind of work out. WWE NXT, that falls with TNA. Nothing to do with Raw, nothing to do with SmackDown. I think it's perfect. I think it's, I think it's like a money idea, definitely 110%. But yeah, moving on. Obviously, this kind of idea, kind of banked off of, TNA's knockouts, champion Jordan Grace kind of coming in. She ultimately kind of came up short thanks to Ash by Elegance and Tatum Paxley at WWE NXT Battleground against Roxanne Perez. And then and then also you saw on TNA, Against All Odds, which we're going to get into. You saw Tatum Paxley make her debut in TNA. She came out. I kind of knew it was going to happen. She kind of came out and she was like, all like, hot stuff about it. And I like that. I like that how she kind of holds that NXT brand as like sort of like a not like a cushion, kind of like a kind of like a confidence building block to be like, okay, although this girl might be like a mid carder to a low carder in WWE NXT, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to kind of treat her with like any kind of disrespect or kind of underestimate her, because she put up a good fight. She put up a decent fight against Jordan Grace. But once again, the good thing I love about Jordan Grace, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair, although how dominant they may look, these girls are physical specimens. They find a way to kind of just put their opponent over, and it's kind of like a win-win. You get a good match, the person loses, but they had a good match, so you're recognized, and the winner obviously, remains the champ or wins the championship. So, definitely love that. And I'm kind of thinking, I hope, and I swear to God, I hope that this battle royal kind of like is like a Royal Rumble. I would love to see it kind of at the last, kind of like the last match. I want to see this match last like probably like an hour. I feel like that would be absolutely badass. And honestly, I want to see the TNA guys last. I want to see the final four to be TNA. I don't know if it's going to be, Joe Hendry, like I've, kind of been, skeptical about Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Nick Nemeth, Ryan Nemeth, or, Frankie Kazarian. It could be like we had those five last guys to be like, and then I can imagine Vic Joseph be like, everybody from NXT is out. We have nothing but TNA stars. Like, that would be pretty cool. That'd be badass to kind of see. So, obviously that's, what I'm hoping for, 1,010%. Although on the NXT roster, you have, the North Dakota Catch Crew, Sean Spears, Josh Briggs, Wes Lee, Javon Evans, Alexis King, Ethan Page, Eddie Thorpe, Dante Chen, all these guys, could possibly very much make their way and winning this, winning this battle royal. So, obviously a lot of good stuff to come. Definitely can't wait to find out what happens on WWE NXT, but, only time will tell. Only time will tell. All right, guys, now we're going to move right on into our segment 3. We will talk about our TNA Impact Against All Odds pay-per-view. We're going to talk about some of the matches, some of the results, and some of the potential storylines. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. First and foremost, we talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. Then we jumped right on into our WWE NXT preview. So our third segment, we're going to talk about our TNA Against All Odds. It's going to be pretty awesome. Absolutely love TNA. Kind of grown up, kind of a sucker for it. I feel like it has a lot of heart. I feel like it does have a lot of heart. I feel like some of the superstars that are fighting, a lot of people might kind of discredit them and be like, oh, it's just all WWE rejects, trying to, make a wrestling promotion like kind of happen to kind of stick it to the main guy. But, I don't think that at all. Honestly, I don't think that at all. The moment I kind of, I know when I said that, they're like, that's because that's what you think, Mo. Like, it's like, no, no, that's not what I think at all. I think, the best thing about TNA is the passion from the wrestlers. You can tell you can tell they care. And I'm not saying the wrestlers from other promotions like AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, or WWE doesn't really care. But there's just something, TNA, I feel like TNA, they were once in a really, really good spot, and thanks to unfortunate circumstances, they kind of went, a little south. So obviously, you have a lot of dedicated fans. You have a lot of dedicated superstars and stuff like that. So you have nothing but respect for these guys. All right, so let's jump right on into our segment 3. We're going to talk about our TNA Impact Against All Odds. So let's do it. So we are at Cesaro Stadium in Chicago, Illinois. First and foremost, in the promotion, not in the promotion, in the pre-sale, not pre-sale, in the pre-show, you saw Sami Callihan defeat Jonathan Gresham, and then you also saw the return of Kushida, which is kind of pretty cool. I've read articles about Kushida. Definitely, he's electric. Although he might not be, the hottest ticket, to return to the TNA Impact. Obviously, what happened later on, and we're going to talk about it. But he's a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler. Definitely a lot of abilities. Kind of, I would love to see him kind of challenge Mustafa Ali for the X Division Championship. But obviously that's just my opinion. Next, we have the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich. Retained against the Hex, Allison Kay, and Marty Bell. I feel like right now, after Slamovich and also, Alicia Edwards dethroned Spitfire, because Spitfire was doing really, really well. They were the top of the WWE world, and not the WWE, the TNA Knockouts, tag team championship contention. And I know that they did really, really well. And I feel like they've, kind of held it on their own. I don't know if any of them are going to make a jump into singles, but these girls are strong, man. These girls are strong. I can very much see one of them, kind of try to go after the, just go after something different. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe a shot at Jordan Grace, maybe. But, obviously that's just me. I would love to see, Alicia Edwards kind of branch out, or Masha Slamovich to kind of do that. And next we have Mike Santana and Steve Macklin defeats the Rascals. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I watched this pay-per-view. I watched all of the Against All Odds, actually. That's why I was kind of like, so adamant on telling you guys that something that you love, you like. Obviously, you see Tom Hannigan. He was a former Todd. I'm just gonna say that for like the next 45 minutes. Tom, I'm just kidding. But you could just sense the heart, and a lot of good things coming out of TNA. Maybe they found a new partner with WWE NXT. Hopefully, that kind of goes further than that. But after the match, you saw the ultimate display of respect. You saw, you saw Steve Macklin exerting his palm, ready for a handshake for Mike Santana. The handshake, they squashed it out. Pretty awesome. You see two great superstars, coming together to fight an ultimate, like kind of like a worser entity, kind of like how you saw the Avengers and freaking Thanos and stuff like that. So next we see PCO. PCO comes out. Obviously, PCO wants a shot at AJ Francis's Digital Media Championship, but of course, you kind of have to send out the, kind of like the representative, kind of the guy that takes the beatings. You saw Rick Swann go out there. He put up a good match, but ultimately PCO was able to, kind of take care of business. The Frankenstein. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. His entrance was pretty badass, to be honest. I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. Then you saw Stephanie Launder come out and she said, "We," like, and "We," like, I thought that was pretty cool how she said in French. I think it's I think PCO is French Canadian. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But they're kind of heading toward a romantic storyline. That'd be pretty cool. Or maybe Stephanie Launder looking under, as your GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast host. I feel like I have to be your professional wrestling honesty broker. Sometimes I feel like Stephanie Launder's kind of luring PCO through romantic kind of, romanticisms and actions, and, her intentions. Obviously she could be working for AJ Francis. I don't want it to happen because I don't want to break PCO's heart. He's a fragile soul. He's a fragile soul. But I don't know. It's a very much possibility. Obviously, building up more momentum for them to once again fight heading toward the future of TNA Impact. Then we saw the TNA World Tag Team Champions, The System, retain against Nick and Ryan Emmett, and I was absolutely I was disgusted. I was disgusted. I saw Dirty Dango come out, doing his Dirty Dango stuff, showing aligning himself with the System, and why, dude? Why is that not, I'm going to cross the forbidden door here. Is that Breezango? Is that the guy from WWE? Let me know in the comment section if Dirty Dango is a fun. There you go, Fandango. Fandango. Like, I feel like he is. He looks a little bigger though. He looks a little buffer. Could be Fandango, and it makes sense because Dirty Dongo, but then again, you may never know. Maybe this guy, swallowed a whole bunch of Hulk Hogan pills or whatever. I'm just kidding. Moving on. So next we see Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian against Joe Hendry. Thanks to the Brass Knucks, Frankie Kazarian kind of fills in that role of like one of the best heel guys that I feel like TNA kind of has. But like what I've kind of compared him to before was kind of like a Randy Orton, where he's not going to do things that necessarily pleases the fans, but he's not going to necessarily do things that that an ordinary heel really does in terms of TNA Impact. So I feel like his kind of scope is kind of wide open, but he ultimately defeated Joe Hendry with the Brass Knucks, and now he has a Chicago street fight against Ace Steel at TNA Impact. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I loved how Steel was like, oh, right to the face. It's like, that's what you get, Kazarian, bro. Don't ever use those Brass Knucks, man. Are you Logan Paul or what? Like, just kidding. Then we see Mustafa Ali. Once again, he retains the X Division Championship. I kind of knew Trent Seven wasn't really going to have a chance against Mustafa Ali for the championship, but a guy from Speedball Mountain, only someone could dream. Only someone could dream. So definitely loved how he put up a fight. It was a good match. It was a decent match. Got to be honest. Next, we see WWE NXT's Tatum Paxley answers Jordan Grace's open challenge for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Ultimately kind of a mistake by Tatum Paxley, getting Jordan Grace pissed off. You cost her at WWE NXT Battleground for a chance to kind of show that TNA is more than just, washed up WWE superstars. And like I said, I don't believe that. I read it online. I hear it on social media. When I comment on, TikTok, Twitter /X or Instagram, there's always that one person that's like, oh, these are just like washed up WWE stars. And like I said before, it's not true. But I don't know. Like Tatum Paxley, I wanted somebody bigger from WWE NXT to kind of make it over across the, for that to kind of happen. And I reiterate on this over and over again. I think I actually did like a 3-minute segment on it, like my last podcast when I was reviewing TNA Against All Odds. But I would have loved to see Natalya. I would have loved to see Natalya if they see Natalya Neidhart from the Hart Foundation. Royalty, wrestling royalty. You see her come out and challenge Jordan Grace. Oh my God. I'm not hating on Tatum Paxley. I'm not, but I feel like it would have been better. I feel like it would have, it would have been, it would have made WWE NXT a little more prestigious. Also, at the same time, making TNA Impact a little more prestigious. But it didn't really happen, and it kind of sucks. I would have loved to see Natalya go out there, or like a surprise from Charlotte Flair. That wasn't gonna happen. But a guy can dream. A guy can dream. So lastly, we have Moose. Once again, Moose, the TNA Impact World Heavyweight Champion. Once again, he retains against the Matt Hardy, the broken Matt Hardy. After the match, you saw the System come out, completely kick Matt Hardy's ass, and then you saw Joe Hendry. You saw the Nemeth brothers come out to no avail. The System became out, and then once all hope was lost, you saw Brother Nero, Jeff Hardy, come out and just it's pretty cool. I feel like Jeff Hardy belongs in TNA 1,010%. So There might be speculation on him being in the 25-man battle royal tonight for WWE NXT. There might not be, but I feel like that's the moral of the story. A guy can dream. A guy can dream on this podcast, guys. Well, guys, do not go anywhere. We're going to meet and greet the Wyatt Six. We're going to talk about the newly formed faction. We're going to talk about some of the dividends they're going to pay on the Monday Night roster. So hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just going to reflect on what we talked about. Segment 1, we had our Monday Night Raw review. Segment 2, we talked about our WWE NXT preview. And segment 3, we touched a little bit on, TNA Impacts Against All Odds. We talked about results, potential storylines. Also, what to expect, kind of moving forward with Matt and Jeff Hardy. Also, the Nemeth brothers, also Joe Henry, and also Frankie Kazarian. So let's dig right on into our meet and greet with the Wyatt Six. So, recently on WWE Monday Night Raw, you saw the Wyatt Six making their crazy, absolutely eerie, scary, something out of a horror movie that you didn't really, kind of see coming. But I don't know, it was absolutely insane. But kind of moving forward here, I'm now having a little bit of, once again, damn it, I hate it when this happens. Kind of having technical difficulties. Oh God, why do you gotta forsake me in my images? No. All right, okay, we're gonna have to freestyle it. So we're gonna have to meet the Wyatt Six. So finally, here on Monday Night Raw, you saw the Wyatt family make their ultimate, much anticipated return to WWE. Totally crazy, totally something to like once, like I said, out of a horror movie. And the entrance was something, oh my God, it was crazy. Just demolition, destruction, chaos. It was, bodies everywhere, blood everywhere. Obviously, in WWE, the blood aspect is, like a huge no-no. PG, you saw, I think I saw Carmelo Hayes and Gunther knocked out. Obviously 1,010%, you saw Chad Gable kind of get the worst of it. And these guys are just, it's crazy. And this also makes me kind of think of, maybe perhaps The Rock, one of the chairmen in the TKO, kind of holdings there. I feel like maybe this might be a way, he comes from entertainment. He probably knows people. He's like, look, he goes to them straight up. He's like, I'm the Brahma Bull. I'm the people's champion. I need somebody to, from the horror movie industry to kind of come in here, kind of, come up with some cool storylines, come up with some cool, just some ways that we can really pay dividends on how these people are going to make an entrance, how they're going to make their mark, but ultimately how they're going to change the landscape of Monday Night Raw. I feel like that was a huge thing. And I feel like, obviously I could be wrong. Maybe The Rock didn't give two craps about like this segment, but, he's from Hollywood. If I was definitely in The Rock's position, if I was, if Triple H came up to me, he's like, hey man, we need to really put these guys over because a lot of people are doubting that we can do it. He'd be like, you know what? Wait 1 minute. It doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. No. But, I feel like The Rock, having The Rock kind of have it, it's in good hands. It's in good hands. Very, for me, I love it 1,010%. So, kind of moving on. For me, and I know this is totally speaking outside of the scope here, I feel like WWE kind of showed their hand on this. And when what I mean by that is that, obviously, like I said, this is, kind of a little off topic, but I feel like there was a lot of speculation that Roman Reigns was going to return at WWE SummerSlam. I thought it was going to be super early. I thought it was too damn early, but now WWE has to do so much to establish this eerie stable. To kind of they need good bookings. They need their promos to be timely. They need the attention of the WWE universe and WWE executives, which makes me think I feel like maybe Roman, that makes me feel like right now, if Roman Reigns comes back, it would absolutely take off the attention and the momentum of the Wyatt Six. So I feel like WWE kind of showed their hands on this. That it was, kind of gave me like a little bit of a, kind of like, okay, Roman Reigns now, I don't think he's going to come back within the next 6 months. But that's just me. That's just me. I could be wrong. Sports entertainment, shocking as hell, could be kind of crazy. But yeah, honestly, yeah. So did the Wyatt Six save Monday Night Raw? Monday Night Raw has recently, their ratings have been decreasing. A lot of people blame it on the NBA playoffs and stuff like that, but that could be part of it. But then you also have Monday Night Raw. It's a 3-hour show. It's been revolved around the Judgment Day for so very long, and a lot of people, a lot of wrestling universe fans know that this, the stable of the Judgment Day is going to ultimately implode one day. And honestly, it's kind of happening right now, and it's crazy. And they need something after that. And I feel like the Wyatt Six is going to be perfect. Definitely 1,010%. But once again, I'm going to, reiterate on this. I've seen this happen before. You had The Fiend, the Universal Champion, lose against Bill Goldberg in a match. Obviously dethroning him, showing that The Fiend isn't as, incomparable or isn't, as impossible to beat or isn't, as, unmortal as he seems in terms of his promotions and stuff like that, which was a huge drop. I'm not, obviously Vince McMahon was a huge nostalgic guy. So I was like, let's have Bill Goldberg come out, pay him a bunch of money, let's pay him a bunch of money. He comes out, he puts the butts in the seats. So I, hope that this is ultimately done right. I read on I read on Twitter/X that Vince Russo says that there's no way in hell that this stable is going to work out. There's no way that WWE is going to kind of make this happen. And I beg to differ. I beg to differ because this was a lot of the way I kind of thought of in terms of like the bloodline when when Roman Reigns was the champion, when they brought Jimmy and Jey Uso, I was like, oh, obviously the Samoan family, oh, that's cool, but we all kind of saw that coming, not much of a big deal, not really sure how it's going to play in terms of storyline on their given brand. I think it was SmackDown. I think it was still SmackDown. I could be wrong. And then you saw Solo Sikoa come out, and I was like, man, this guy Roman Reigns is unbeatable. You can't defeat this guy. And then Cody Rhodes loses at WrestleMania 39, and I was like, dude, this like stable, like I feel like it's gonna be dead. And then they had the Civil War. Well, no, before the Civil War, they had the Honorable Uso. They had Sami Zayn come in, and then they had the Civil War, and then they had Jey Uso, kind of siding with Sammy. And then you had a little bit of uncomfortability between the bloodline. And then you saw Roman Reigns wanting to kick out Sami Zayn. He at the Royal Rumble, he gave Sami Zayn the chair to strike Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was obviously he's a fellow Canadian, fellow best friend of Sami Zayn. And he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it to his best man at his wedding. So he grabbed the chair, turned on Roman Reigns, got his ass kicked. And then, they wanted Jay to do the same thing to Sami Zayn, but then Jay couldn't do it. So then you saw Jimmy get kicked out of the bloodline. And then Jay was like, you know what? You out. That means I'm out too, sticking by his brother's side. Obviously, Jimmy wasn't able to kind of do the same thing. So then for a moment there, you kind of saw Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, you had that like that oh crap moment, like, what could be next? And that's what I feel like, I thought this storyline between the bloodline was going to be trash. I didn't think it was going to be, I didn't think it was going to amount to anything. Obviously, you had the Usos as the longest reigning tag team champions, and you have Roman Reigns as, top 5, title holders in WWE professional wrestling, next to Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, and all that, Bob Backlund. So this could work. this can work. So, obviously Vince Russo is a huge, reason why the Attitude Era was such a hit. Obviously was, not really, fond of Vince McMahon. That's the reason why he kind of left to WCW. But, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. So let's go ahead and meet the Wyatt Six. We have Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy is Huskus Pig. I don't know if any of you guys remember, the Bray Wyatt, the, Firefly Funhouse. Hi guys, and then recently, you saw Joe Gacy on WWE NXT kind of adopt a new complex and kind of twisted character. So now he's Husky's Pig. Nikki Cross is Abby the Witch. Got a lot of people. Obviously, the only girls. But Nikki Cross has always kind of been a little bit of a sporadic, yet unhinged kind of individual. She's no Nikki ASH anymore. Obviously, when she won the championship, I loved it when Nikki Cross was champion. That was cool. And when she was, Women's World Tag Team Champions with Alexa Bliss, which, I don't know if Alexa Bliss is going to go anywhere near that family as soon as they debut. But it's, it's going to. Well, obviously they did debut. They did debut. I mean, when she debuts, is she going to hint at, like a potential, like her. I still kind of feel like they're targeting Braun Strowman still, because if Braun Strowman enters that clique, these guys are going to be unstoppable. Unstoppable. So, should be kind of interesting kind of him moving forward. Next, we have Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis as Mercy the Buzzer. Dexter Lumis has always kind of had, he's always been like an intriguing character within WWE. He's always been kind of mysterious. He had this stalker, kind of montage where he was with, where he was stalking The Miz, and The Miz didn't want anything to kind of do with him. So now you kind of have this 40-year-old finally land up on a stable that hopefully does something with his, with his talent and also his in-ring capabilities. Love Dexter Lumis. Love that he found a way to kind of join Bo Dallas in this, stable here. We have Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan is Rambling Rabbit. Rambling Rabbit, my favorite, very much favorite Firefly Funhouse guy. He was just, dude, it was just, I don't know, it was just so cool. It was just very, very cool. Obviously he was my huge favorite. Loved Bray Wyatt. I love that, just like that sense of just different. Just, this, a nuanced, style of wrestling, this nuanced form of promotions, oh my God. It was so awesome. Definitely loved, the Mercy the Buzzard, Abby the Witch, Rambling Rabbit, and, Hookus the Pig. I always forget about the damn pig, dude. And lastly, of course, you have the rock star himself, Uncle Howdy, which is obviously, he's a Taylor Rotunda. You guys know him as, Bo Dallas. It kind of crazy the way this kind of all ended up, but good things. Definitely a lot of good things coming toward this table. And yeah, I'm hopeful. So you guys should be too. Well, guys, we're going to jump right on into our fifth and final segment. Tuesdays today in wrestling history. I'm going to see if I can tweak something here. See if I can make, some of these graphics kind of come up. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here with all your cool wrestling factoids, talking about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We did talk about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We talked about our WWE NXT preview. We also talked about TNA Against All Odds. We also dipped on, a little bit of the Uncle Howdy and his Wyatt Six. faction that's going to be debuting. Well, that already debuted on Monday Night Raw. So we're going to jump right onto that. So let's go ahead and move on into our next segment. We're going to talk right about this works. Oh, God, that's nasty. Tuesday in wrestling history. I can't. Oh, they can hear it. Is that's that's kind of cool. Oh, there we go. Then look at this. Look at this. A whiz kid, man. I know technology, bro. I know technology. So let's go ahead and jump right on into our Tuesday and today's history. Today is June 18th. Let's jump into my DeLorean. Let's pretend like we are in Back to the Future. I'm Doc Martin. We're like 88 miles an hour. Grab my hand, Marty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, now we are in 1995. 1995, WCW Great American Bash in front of 6,000 fans, only 6,000 fans, which is kind of crazy. Alex Wright defeated Brian Pillman. Harlem Heat defeated Dick Slater and also Bunkhouse Buck. Arn Anderson wins the WCW World Television Championship. The Nasty Boys defeat the Blue Bloods to retain the WCW Tag Team Championships. Sting wins the vacated WCW United States Championship. Super cool. All right, and now we're in 2001. Diamond Dallas Page, obviously after WWE Invasion, you saw the WCW stars come out, and DDP was kind of done so dirty here. I hated it. They revealed him to be the person that's been stalking. You've been stalking the Undertaker's wife, you sick individual. And that's terrible. I'm sorry. Still to this day, I kind of, whenever I see Diamond Dallas Page, and you think about him as this badass guy in WCW, and now obviously he works back scenes in the WWE/WWF. Maybe that's kind of like their way of being like, hey, sorry, dude, we effed up. But he's always going to be known as the guy that stalked the Undertaker's wife. Like, it's just, oh my God, it was so dumb. It was so crazy. I'm going to turn to the next slide before I pop a blood vessel here. Oh, my blood pressure. Just kidding. All right, now we are in 2004. 2004, we have the CMLL Inferno NL ring was held in Mexico City, Mexico. Dr. Wagner Jr. defeated El Sanek in a 2 out of 3 falls to win the UWA heavyweight title. He held the title for an amazing 7 years before he ultimately retired. So thought that was pretty cool to talk about. In 2005, CM Punk defeats Austin Aries at Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor 3 to become the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. You see him right there. Such a young CM Punk, such a young guy. And he's come so far. He's come so far within the wrestling business. That's, kind of cool. Kind of love ever since, I started really kind of looking, more into like a diverse, kind of more of like you're kind of like this, not alternate, kind of like this multiverse of wrestling. You kind of find out that CM Punk didn't debut in the WWE, wasn't sent to ECW in 2008 to try to put over a brand name that was going bankrupt, and the WWE kind of ultimately felt sorry for ECW. So like Vince McMahon was like, all right, let's just keep it. We'll keep all the rejects over there, rejects. But CM Punk, he was in Ring of Honor. He was in a lot of like independent wrestling and stuff like that. Definitely respect that. Definitely, gave me more respect for CM Punk. I love CM Punk. The moment he left WWE was, tragic to me. Definitely hate that. All right, and now we are in 2006. We are at TNA Slammiversary in Orlando, Florida, in front of only 900 fans. Back in 2006, you saw Team 3D defeat the James Gang. Kevin Nash defeats Chris Sabin. AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels defeats the America's Most Wanted for the NWA Tag Team Championships. Samoa Joe defeats Scott Steiner, and you saw Jeff Jarrett defeat Christian Cage, the Monster Abyss, Ron Killings, and also Sting in the King of the Mountain kind of match. This this is when TNA I felt like started peaking a little bit. I feel like from the years of 2007 or 2008 to like 2013, I feel like these guys were like, obviously you had those guys. You had Samoa Joe, You had Chris Sabin. You also had Jay Lethal. You also had like so many names. Christian Cage. But I think Bobby Lashley made it to TNA. Like I would say, like around the 2011. I think that's when Bobby Lashley kind of came into the scene. You saw Kurt Angle. Brock Lesnar was this close. He was this close to signing with TNA. Imagine where TNA would be if Brock Lesnar signed and would have found, success there. The Monster Abyss, AJ Styles. It was good. This promotion was very, very good. You saw the Cowboy James Storm, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg. A lot of people from WWE kind of over there, right? And then you had Aces and Eights with then you had the LAX, the Latin America Exchange, like, and this goes on and on and on. A lot of cool things about TNA. In 2006, you saw Slammiversary. All right, let's jump right on into our time machine and go to 2017, the WWE WWE Money in the Bank in St. Louis, Missouri, in front of 15,392 fans. You saw Carmella winning the women's Money in the Bank. Obviously, there was some kind of confusion because Daniel Bryan came out, didn't like how James Ellsworth came in and handed her the briefcase. He hopped up there, But then she fought the next night on SmackDown, then the following SmackDown, and she was able to win it. Obviously Mela is the money. Then you saw the New Day defeat the Usos by disqualification, no by count out. So, obviously no titles changed hands there. Naomi retained the WWE Women's SmackDown Championship against Lana. Jinder Mahal pinned Randy Orton to retain the WWE Championship. Then you saw Baron Corbin win his men's Money in the Bank Championship, which ultimately, failed because he tried cashing in on, I think it was John Cena, which was dumb, which was stupid. Kind of like Vince's way of getting back at Baron Corbin because according to reports and stuff like that, like wrestling backs, I think it was Professional Wrestling Insider. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But they had an altercation in terms. I think it was character development. I think Baron Corbin didn't really want his character to kind of head in a direction that Vince McMahon wanted to take it. And it was the end of him. It was the end of him. You're like, all right, you lost your Money in the Bank briefcase, man. I felt like Baron Corbin, given the chance, especially during this stage where he was the lone wolf, would have been so badass. Would have been so great. He's kind of like the original Damien Priest. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Obviously, I feel like, obviously the lone wolf. Then you had, Damien Priest, come from WWE NXT. You kind of have that vest, you have the long hair, you kind of have that rebel without a cause. I'm on my own against the wall. I'm on my own. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know how that, bounds to Bianca Belair's song. That's crazy. But no, I felt like they kind of destroyed Baron Corbin. Then you saw Corporate Corbin come out, Happy Corbin, Broke Corbin, and it was just garbage. WWE garbage, bro. WWE garbage. So lastly, we're going to make a stop at 2018 where Dolph Ziggler defeats Seth Rollins in the opening match on Monday Night Raw to win his Intercontinental Championship for the 6th time. Very, very impressive. That's why I feel like, it was a huge mistake that WWE, well, Vince McMahon, kind of screwed over, and Pat Patterson, Joe Briscoe, kind of screwed over, Nick Nemeth and, everything that kind of came with, Dolph Ziggler, the most wanted man. But yeah, that was my Tuesday, and my Tuesdays today in wrestling history. Hope you guys liked it. Totally apologize that I wasn't able to kind of put up that graphic for the Wyatt family. I have it down, but once again, technology pretends to be your friend, but when you need it the most, it fails you. It fails. Anyways, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe and follow button to the podcast, to the network. Also leave please leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 110%. It really does make a difference. We also invite you guys to follow us on Twitter/X, TikTok, and Instagram, Facebook for more content and updates. Like I always say, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we had the NBA playoffs recently. recently ended. Obviously, the Boston Celtics are the 2023-2024 NBA champs, but my boy Nelson will keep you informed with all your cool basketball stuff that you need to know in the offseason. My boy Kenneth on football, my boy Manny on the Chip Shot Football Podcast, your one-stop shop for women's sports. Samantha, you got the Andrew Tate Show. You also have Sam on baseball, TJ and Jeremy on sports, my boy Emran on soccer podcast that starts in about 23 minutes, so make sure you stay tuned for that, all you soccer fans out there. I guess it's the summer of soccer or something like that. I wish I was more into soccer. I honestly wish I did. Definitely, I wish I can get more into that. Make sure you tune into Garrison's show. He's going to cover the NHL game that happened tonight. You have the Edmonton Oilers winning tonight. Staying alive. Now it's a 3-2 series against the Florida Panthers, so it's only going to heat up from there. It's going to be absolutely crazy. So we also have Thomas on college football. Make sure you check up that. So honestly, guys, check out these badass podcasts with podcasters that has a passion for sports, that has a passion to kind of ultimately lead the fans down the right way. Like, it's 110% free here at the GSMC Sports Network. Follow this bloodline. We're not Fox Sports, we're not ESPN. We're not going to charge you guys for something that you love, for God's sakes. So be a part of this. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow the network. It's going to be absolutely badass. And once again, thank you so much and have a wonderful Tuesday.
Let's
go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to